I'm David Fleming from the Disciples Ignited YouTube channel, where we're focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom, and preparing his disciples. Now, we've been talking about revival outpourings that have taken place throughout church history, and over the past couple of videos, we're talking about the beginnings of the Second Great Awakening that was one of the greatest outpourings that America has ever experienced. Many church historians say it's the greatest, but we've had some outpourings that have taken place over the past decades or so. So if it wasn't the greatest, it was certainly on the top. But let me tell you, the Second Great Awakening, while it started in college campuses, I doubt that anybody had any idea what God had in store. Next, he's going to begin to pour his Spirit out upon what was known as the Wild, Wild West. Listen, at the beginning of the 1800s, the spiritual condition of the western portion of America was much worse than the eastern coast. Most of the pioneers who had settled in the West were rough, and they didn't profess any religious leanings whatsoever. They could care less. Now, those who did were mostly deists and Unitarians. They had been greatly affected by the Age of Enlightenment that had come out of Europe, so they didn't have any room for God at all. Well, the evangelization of the West was left up to courageous ministers such as the Methodist circuit riders, who were willing to suffer hardships of frontier life, which they did. One such minister was a man named James McGready, who had been schooled in a log college, a log cabin that had been turned into a college, and he himself experienced revival that took place at Hampden-Sydney College. McGready went to Logan County of southern Kentucky in 1798 to pastor 3 churches that were located in Red River, Gasper River, and Muddy River. Now, the majority of the population of Logan County was made up of murderers, horse thieves, highway robbers, and counterfeiters who had fled there from all other parts of America. And those who were in Logan County who did desire law and order were opposed by the criminals with guns, pistols, and knives and clubs, and they were soundly defeated. Seems like there was no hope. But God. Manifestations of revival began at the Gasper River Church in 1797 and then later went into 1798. By the time 1799 rolled around, several churches joined together for communion services at Red River. Now, the Presbyterian churches of that day didn't hold communion services often, and when they did hold them, they usually involved a lot of other churches to join with them over a period of several days. Now, by the end of July 1799, during the annual Red River Communion services, it became evident that God was doing a deep and powerful work among the people. And everybody involved felt that it would be a good idea to have another joint communion service at Red River next year in June of 1800. So Pastor McGready announced that those who planned to attend the communion services the following year were to come prepared to camp on the ground. Thus, the first camp meeting was born. I doubt very seriously that they had any idea what was going to happen that next year. It is just beyond compare. And it was the beginning of a massive outpouring that was not only going to sweep through the western part of America, but sweep through the rest of the nation and change the course of American history. Join me tomorrow. It's exciting.